Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Oh, and here's take 4. It's that good old lucky fourth or something like that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We have done this video 4 times. We spent hours and hours on this video. Here we go yet again, trying to get it in. So as you see here, this is an order from the White House ordering the selected reserve and certain members of the individual ready reserve of the armed forces to active duty. President of the United States, Joe Biden, whichever clone it is, body double, whatever, has just released authorization for the call-up of at least 3,000 personnel from the U.S. Armed Forces Reserve, roughly 450 from the individual Ready Reserve, in order to augment the forces of U.S. European Command for the upcoming exercise Operation Atlantic Resolve in the region. That exercise has been going on for 10 years. And so it is an annual exercise, but they don't usually call people up to take part necessarily. There are some that are saying that what is happening right now is NATO is preparing for the war against Russia and what would be WW3, and is starting to put troops and all into place. And meanwhile, we've heard reports of we don't have enough ammo. Again, just borrow it from the IRS. Well, they're not going to do that because the IRS will just simply be taken over by the CCP, and they'll still need the ammo, to basically coerce the citizens into doing their civic duty and supporting all the war efforts out there, no matter who we're fighting, ultimately, again. This is all warfare against ourselves, is really, and it's that realization that we have to have. See the bigger picture. This is obviously all serving one greater purpose.
Well, that's why we have to really go easy on each other, because this is like deliberate stress here.
And we can see it now. That's the difference. People can see it now. So, yeah, the sun is getting way more active. There is a sunspot that's hyperactive, been called hyperactive, which is now turning to face us. There's been a series of M-class flares, and as you can see here, a CME. So NOAA forecasters say that minor G1 class geomagnetic storms are possible on the 15th, when the CME is expected to hit Earth's magnetic field. Yeah, you could feel it coming. And honestly, Cindy has been getting that feeling like we should be ready for the hiccup at any point in time. We've been talking about the hiccup. And the hiccup, is it the big one? Not necessarily. But again, from this point out, be ready for the grid to go down at any time, and it could be, again, sporadically in different areas. It might just be the Northeast, it might just be the California coast, it might just be somewhere in the middle as far as the U.S., and even, again, in the NATO countries especially, and the U.S. allies. I think you're going to see this just become a regular occurrence. And the storms are going to intensify. The quote-unquote earth changes are going to intensify from here on out. As you look at a beautiful photograph from Italy of the sun. Wow, that's beautiful. But yes, absolutely, be prepared. This is bringing us DNA-changing energies. And our abilities are increasing exponentially. Those that stay organic, especially you that have a regular spiritual practice, whether you're doing Qigong, whether you're doing yoga, mantras, any form of meditation, mind, body, breath, you're just simply going to change yourself and your consciousnness in ways that we wouldn't be able to do just even 10 years ago.
I know, and I don't know, are we going to do another video on Heart's Home about what are the energy? Okay, there was an energy that I felt coming in, because I always ask, like, what is this for? And I got some information, but that'll be real nice. Something to talk about on Heart's Home.
Okay, we shall do. And here you see, this is up in Vermont. Look at that. All the rains have buried this truck. The house looks like it might be a total wreck. Probably is a total wreck. This is Vermont. This is the changes that are going on. Every area now, you wouldn't necessarily think Vermont would be one that would have to worry too much about earth changes, but here you go. It all depends on where the bullseye is painted, so to speak. Thousands are left without power. Hundreds of flights are canceled after tornado mega cluster thundered through Chicago. At least 8 tornadoes touched down in 4 counties, northeastern Illinois, forced O'Hare and Midway airports to cancel all flights at one point in time, as you can see them. Again, doesn't matter where we are. We're going to be faced with some challenges, some areas more than others, but absolutely all of us are going to be affected as we see the damage done. It's just increasing, and I expect it to increase a lot once we get into the next eclipse, which is just a few months away in October, and then the big one in April of 2024. King of Prussia and over in Macungie, Pennsylvania. Both of these areas, they're about 45 miles apart. Massive sinkholes opening up. So between Philadelphia and Allentown, this is the area that we're looking at. Both of these areas reporting massive sinkholes. And many people are reporting horrible internet, horrible technological challenges. I mean, we're all going through it. With us, we know we're hacked into. My phone's gone on at times when I've shut it off. It decides to turn itself back on. Yeah, okay. But again, there's been many reports of that from different family members out there. And there's been acknowledgement out there too that, the powers that be will turn on the smart technology at any time that suits them to listen in and discover what we are doing. Well, if they want our recipes, they could wait for our cookbook to come out.
I think that's right.
Yeah, they should. Turkey's Black Sea region and also Russia's hit by deadly flash floods, over 1,000 landslides. Again, every corner of the globe pretty much is experiencing these challenges. At least 4 people lost over in Russia after these. This is Sochi, Black Sea, a beautiful area, resort area. And of course, been the center of the conflict going on as well. Over 100 people now lost as well up in northern India from the floods, which have been just catastrophic. Meanwhile, we have the Secret Service saying, hey, we can't figure out who done it. No clue. As far as the cocaine in the White House, no suspects. I mean, no suspects? Are you serious? This is an area that has cameras all over it. Everything is watched. And by the way, I mean, just look at the mannerisms. Now, we don't do any of those type of things. No need for mind-altering chemicals of any sort when you have a dedicated meditation practice. And I don't kid with that. Meditation has enabled me to achieve states of mind that are beyond 420 or anything else. Beyond. It does take time, and it's been decades. And again, our society is TikTok orientated, 3 minutes or less, or in the YouTube short world, 1 minute or less.
I know it does take time, but man, oh man, is it worth it to be able to tap into your center or tap into your higher self almost any time you need, without any extra anything. But, this is like horrible gaslighting. We are in the biggest, worst narcissistic relationship with this country, and this is horrible. They're really wanting people's wick to be lit. It's not nice.
Yeah, I think Hunter was eating those powdered donuts again. Biden regime to crack down on air conditioning. Yes, because they're worried about global warming. They're going to cut HFC, hydrofluorocarbons by 40% by 2028. And again, these right here, these numbers, 2028, doesn't mean the U.S. is going to be in existence in 2028. More than likely, by that time, I think it'll be split up into smaller pieces and handed off to Russia, China, Mexico, and maybe part of the EU or the revised EU, but they'll still have these things as their goals because it's not a White House goal. When we look at the real control system, it's beyond that. So if we want to talk about the few, we're getting closer, but it's even beyond the few. And we put the few up to a mirror and read it backwards as we see here. Yeah, when we talk about banning gas stoves, why would they want to ban gas? Why would they want to ban natural gas? Because when your power goes out, like if you don't pay your electric bill, or if they want to shut the power out, which they're going to do on a ever-increasing basis, you still have heat. You can still boil water, and you can still cook when you have natural gas. Yeah. There's a picture that becomes a lot clearer. Natural gas has actually been shown, to be much cleaner than many other options that we have out there. And people in Oregon spoke up enough so that the Eugene City Council repealed their first natural gas ban. Good. This is what we need to do. We need to push back as much as possible. They don't want us pushing back, but we can, and we can change the narrative. They're going to keep rolling forward. There still are dates for men, and again, you put the man in front of the dates, and you get what we mean. As far as if you're going to go to a certain university, you got to still do a certain thing, even though there is no more, so-called plague upon the land federal dates for men. There's still schools that are giving those. Doesn't it shouldn't boggle the mind, but don't you find it irritating? Oh, absolutely. 10 states plan to sue the EPA over standards for residential wood-burning stoves. They're trying to ban wood burning. They're trying to ban natural gas. Why? Because you can keep utilizing them to cook your food, to boil water, to heat your home, even if the power structure decides to turn off your electricity. This is why. It's about control. And of course, the UK is moving forward with the digital pound because, again, it's just numbers and control system that is, again, all about keeping that control in the hands of the few. So, it's obvious, the rest of the crypto world out there won't exist at some point in time. Some have utilized it to make a lot of money. But at some point in time, there will just be one digital currency. It'll be the official digital currency. And some of us are just going to be working on barter and trade because we're not going to want to be in that system. We have to resist. Otherwise, we will all be branded, so to speak.
Well, we got to definitely find the energy and find our priority and put that at the top, and just keep in mind when things come into play in your life that are very, very difficult, you look at your priorities and do you give in to this thing, or do you stick with your priorities? And everybody's going to be different, but I think it does help to put your why. You're deciding to do something, put that at the very top of the list, your why. So whenever you are tempted to go a certain way, remember your why, and that will help keep you on track so that you remain organic and in a place where you can take care of yourself and you're not in need of any assistance.
So people reporting that they saw a helicopter that released a whole bunch of mosquitoes over a bunch of people having a festival. It wouldn't surprise me at all. And neither would ticks flying. Absolutely wouldn't surprise. A new British intelligence report released today suggests China's size, ambition, and capability have enabled it to successfully penetrate every sector of the UK's economy. Well, every sector of all the governments, all the major governments for sure, in the world has been penetrated by secret societies. And again, they're all controlling this narrative together. Congressman issues grim warning after viewing classified UFO footage. That technology, if utilized, could turn the Earth to charcoal. Yeah. So again, yes, I would not be surprised. Of course, they were going to tell us that certain extraterrestrials are dangerous and going to be very dangerous, and they may be coming this way. The dangerous extraterrestrials have been in control of this planet for thousands of years. That's the bottom line.
They have, and it's unfortunate, and we really need to get to a place where we can see that.
Absolutely. After all, right? Satan controls this world. Satan, it technically is an interdimensional extraterrestrial group, and that's the reality. The distortion's been that we're alone. Look at this 1950s beach pic. Yeah, absolutely. Everybody is healthy. Everybody is happy. You know, for the most part, they certainly look healthy and happy. They're not obese. People are so obese today, and yet we're nutritionally deficient. Yeah, nutritionally deficient. And this video here is just showing some exercises that, you know, these teenagers are going through. Yes, we have athletes today that could do it, but the average person, unfortunately, is not in that good a shape. And so for the technology increasing, our health isn't. In fact, our life expectancy is decreasing because the system is made it for it that way. That's part of the purpose, is to keep people from realizing their potential, to keep them from living long enough to put 2 and 2 together. This looks like a whale shark swimming up in the stars, but in reality, this is bioluminescent algae. Isn't that cool? And again, we don't play these because we've had numerous videos demonetized, and that little blurb there could demonetize this video. Just that little blurb. Yeah, you know, and again, because they want to starve us out. That's their whole intent. Now, this is something that, you know, well, I don't know if you'd want this particular stallion. This one doesn't look like it's going to let anybody ride it anytime soon.
No, but he sure is handsome, and horses are extremely therapeutic just to look at them. You know, for me, I'd rather have a nice big old Clydesdale because they're not so feisty, but they're sure nice.
You know, when they talk about alternative health, you know, again, alternative was the natural way of doing things. We lived the shortest, most miserable lives in a dark age. And it's the system that makes it that way. This is Brian from Canada, who we asked for prayers for with everybody. And thank you guys, because your prayers made a difference. So, you know, he sent me a blurb, and I said, would you put something together to really explain, you know, what you went through? And we'll share it with everybody. So he put this together. In 2020, he was in the hospital for 3 weeks. His blood was down to half. He ended up with 6 units over that period. When he was discharged, they put him on heart medication and a diuretic to take off fluid. DX was CHF and GIB. That diagnosis. Anyway, about 5 weeks later, or 5 weeks ago, I started feeling really nauseous, ended up going to the doctor. Blood tests showed my sodium was 112. Normal is 135 to 155. They called and told me to go straight to emergency. He was there from Tuesday until Friday, where they stopped the diuretic and ran some 0.9 NS. They monitored NA levels every 4 hours by blood and urine tests. By Friday, my sodium was up to 127, so they discharged me. Meanwhile, I had emailed Mike and Cindy, asked for help. So they asked everybody to send energy and prayer. When I got home, I was super weak. That weekend, I felt awful. And to top it off, my drain in the kitchen and bathroom clogged up. It's interesting how those things happen, because sometimes those are an allegory for what's happening in the physical body. And some other issue with the basement as well happened. Also, my stomach felt off, and I don't mean to be graphic, but had bowel movement, and there was a lot of blood. This happened another 2 times, and I was pretty scared. I was afraid I'd end up like last time, needing blood, and he didn't want a chance getting any tainted blood with ANRM. We put that up to a mirror. He emailed us again. I was feeling overwhelmed, told them what was going on, asked for energy work, and we did it. I didn't feel anything, but Thursday I started to feel really good, like uplifted, no worries. My whole outlook felt changed to positive. It's really hard to explain, This took me by surprise because I was ready to give up. Life was too hard to keep up with. Thursday night, bathroom again, no blood, not a speck. I had made the call and got rush appointment for Saturday with my doctor. Friday, no blood, feeling full of energy, just plain good. Not my normal state for a very long time. Same on Saturday, told the doc what happened. I didn't tell him about the energy work as he'd had me committed. He shrugged it off and said, probably fissures or hemorrhoids. Now, Brian worked emergency room trauma center in Detroit for 20 years. He's very familiar with health issues. There was too much blood for that. Today is Monday. I'm still feeling great, better than I've been for years, so something shifted. I've never experienced anything like this before and didn't even expect it. I know it was Mike, Cindy, and all my brothers and sisters here sending me prayers and energy. Too big of a change for me to explain. Thank you. I love you all. So we're thankful for everybody that helped bring that positive occurrence, to manifestation. This is the time of miracles, and yes, this can happen on a regular basis, and we've seen it happen hundreds and hundreds of times. As we ourselves have worked with thousands of individuals over every continent except for Antarctica. And there's so many others like us out there doing the same thing. So, this is where the big exposure is. It's the system. It's plain and simple, the system. The system is unfortunately not what it is made out to appear to be.
There's always definitely ways around it and through it if you put your intent out there.
As always, guys, much love. Thanks for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. If you need to reach us, it's evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail.com. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.